The last precept, you guys. Here it is, our last day of wonder. This was written on Mr. Brown's chalkboard when we walked in the English class for the last time. Mr. Brown's June precept: just follow the day and reach for the sun. The polyphonic spree: have a great summer vacation, Class 5B. It's been a great year and you've been a wonderful group of students. If you remember, please send me a postcard this summer with your personal precept. It can be something that you made up for yourself or something that you've read somewhere that means something to you. If so, don't forget the attribution, please. I really look forward to getting them. Tom Brown, 563 Sebastian Place in the Bronx, New York. The drop-off. The graduation ceremony was held in the Beecher Prep Upper School Auditorium. It was only about a 15-minute walk from our house to the other campus building, but Dad drove me because I was all dressed up and had on new shiny black shoes that weren't broken in yet, and I didn't want my feet to hurt. Students were supposed to arrive at the auditorium an hour before the ceremony started, but we got there even earlier. So we sat in the car and waited. Dad turned on the CD player and our favorite song came on. We both smiled and started bobbing our heads to the music. And Dad sang along with the song. Andy would bicycle, I don't know the song. Andy would bicycle across town in the rain to bring you candy. I don't know what that is. Hey, is my tie on straight? I said. He looked and straightened it a tiny bit as he kept on singing. And John would buy the gown if you wore it to prom. I don't know what this song is. Does my hair look okay? I said. He smiled and nodded. Perfect, he said. You look great, Augie. Via, put some gel in it this morning, I said, pulling down the sun visor and looking in the little mirror. It doesn't look too poofy? Oh no, it's very, very cool, Augie. I don't think you've ever had it this short before, have you? No, I got it cut yesterday. I think it makes me look more grown up, don't you? Oh, definitely. He was smiling, looking at me and nodding. But I'm the luckiest guy on the Lower East Side 'cause I got wheels and you want to go for a ride. I'm just making this up, guys. Never heard of that song. Look at you, Augie, he said, smiling from ear to ear. Look at you, looking so grown up and spiffy. I can't believe you're graduating from the 5th grade. I know. It's pretty awesome, right? I nodded. It feels just like yesterday that you started. Remember I still had that Star Wars braid hanging from the back of my head? Oh my gosh, that's right, he said, rubbing his palm over his forehead. You hated that braid, didn't you, Dad? Well, hate is too strong of a word, but I definitely didn't love it. Oh, you hated it. Come on, admit it, I teased. No, I didn't hate it, he smiled, shaking his head. But I will admit to hating that astronaut helmet that you used to wear. Do you remember? Oh, yeah, the one that Miranda gave me. Of course I remember. I used to wear that thing all the time. Oh, goodness, I hated that thing. He laughed, almost more to himself. I was so bummed when it got lost, I said. Oh, it didn't get lost, he answered casually. I threw it out. Wait, what? I said. I honestly didn't think I heard him right. The day is beautiful and so are you, he was singing. Dad, I said, turning down the volume. What? He said. You threw it out? He finally looked at my face and saw how mad I was. I couldn't believe he was being so matter-of-fact about the whole thing. I mean, to me, this was a major revelation and he was acting like it was no big deal. Augie, I couldn't stand seeing that thing cover your face anymore, he said clumsily. Dad, I loved that helmet. It meant a lot to me. I was bummed beyond belief when it got lost. Don't you remember? Of course I remember, Augie, he said softly. Oh, Augie, don't be mad. I'm sorry. I just couldn't stand seeing you wear that thing on your head anymore, you know? I didn't think it was good for you. He was trying to look me in the eye, but I wouldn't look at him. Come on, Augie, please try to understand, he continued, putting his hand under my chin and tilting my face toward him. You were wearing that helmet all the time. And the real truth is, I missed seeing your face. Augie, I know that you don't always love it, but you have to understand, I love it. I love this face of yours, Augie, completely and passionately. And it kind of broke my heart that you were always, covering it up. He was squinting at me like he really wanted me to understand. Does Mom know? I said. He opened his eyes wide. No way, are you kidding? She would have killed me. She tore that place apart looking for that helmet, Dad, I said. I mean, she spent like a week looking for it in every closet, in the laundry room, everywhere. I know, he said, nodding. That's why she'd kill me. And then he looked at me, and something about his expression made me start laughing, which made him open up his mouth wide, like he just realized something. Wait a minute, Augie, he said, pointing his finger at me. You have to promise he will never tell Mommy about this. I smiled and rubbed my palms together like I was about to get very greedy. Let's see, I said, stroking my chin. I'll be wanting that new Xbox when it comes out next month, and I'll definitely be wanting my own car in about 6 years. A red Porsche would be nice. And he started laughing. I love it when I'm the one who makes Dad laugh, since he's usually the funny man that gets everybody else laughing. Oh boy, he said, shaking his head. You've really grown up. The part of this song that we love to sing the most started to play, and I turned up the volume, and we both started singing. I'm the ugliest guy on the Lower East Side, but I've got wheels and you want to go for a ride. You want to go for a ride, want to go for a ride, want to go for a ride. I don't know this song, sorry. It's probably like some really cool song, but we always sang that last part at the top of our lungs, trying to hold up that last note as long as the guy who sang the song, which always made us crack up. While we were laughing, we noticed Jack had arrived and was walking over to our car, and I started to get out. Hold on, said Dad. I just want to make sure that you've forgiven me, okay? Yes, I forgive you. He looked at me gratefully. Thank you. But don't ever throw anything else of mine out again without telling me. Have you guys ever had that happen before, where your parents throw something of yours out and you're like, really? Mr. Cortez does that all the time. I promise. I opened the door and got out as Jack reached the car. Hey, Jack, I said. Hey, Augie. Hey, Mr. Pullman, said Jack. How you doing, Jack? Said Dad. See you later, Dad, I said, closing the door. Good luck, guys, Dad called out, rolling down the front window. See you on the other side of 5th grade. We waved as he turned on the ignition and started to pull away, but then I ran over and he stopped the car. I put my head in the window so Jack wouldn't hear what I was saying. Wonder what he said. Can you guys not kiss me a lot after graduation? I asked quietly. It's kind of embarrassing. I'll try my best. Tell Mom, too. I don't think she'll be able to resist, Augie, but I'll pass it along. Bye, dear old Dad, he smiled. Bye, my son, my son. Take your seats, everyone. Jack and I walked right behind a couple of 6th graders in the building and then followed them to the auditorium. Mrs. G was at the entrance handing out the programs and telling kids where to go. 5th graders down the aisle to the left, she said. 6th graders go to the right. Everyone come in. Good morning. Go to your staging areas. 5th graders to the left, 6th graders to the right. The auditorium was huge inside. Big, sparkly chandeliers, red velvet walls, rows and rows and rows of cushioned seats leading up to the giant stage. We walked down the wide aisle and followed the signs to the 5th grade staging area, which was in a big room to the left of the stage. Inside were 4 rows of folding chairs facing the front of the room, which is where Miss Rubin was standing, waving us in as soon as we walked into the room. Okay, kids, take your seats, she was saying, pointing to the rows of chairs. Don't forget, you're sitting alphabetically. Come on, everybody, take your seats. Not too many kids had arrived yet, though the ones who had weren't listening to her. Me and Jack were sword fighting with our rolled up programs. Yeah. Hey guys, it was Summer walking over to us. She was wearing a light pink dress and I think a little makeup. Wow, Summer, you look awesome, I told her, because she really did. Oh, really? Thanks, you do too, Augie. Yeah, you look okay, Summer, said Jack, kind of matter-of-factly. And for the first time, I realized that Jack had a crush on her. Oh, this is so exciting, isn't it? Said Summer. Yeah, kinda, I answered, nodding. Oh man, look at this program, said Jack, scratching his forehead. We're going to be here all day. I looked at my program. There it is. Headmaster opening remarks is Dr. Harold Jensen. Middle school director's address, Mr. Lawrence Tushman. Light and Day Middle School Choir. And then 5th grade student commencement address from Jimena. And then Canon and D Middle School Chamber Music, and all this music, all these speakers, roll call of names. Graduations take a long time, guys. Why do you think that? I asked. Because Mr. Jensen's speeches go on forever, said Jack. He's even worse than Tushman. My mom said she actually dozed off when he spoke last year, Summer added. What's the awards presentation? I asked. Oh, that's where they give medals to the biggest brainiacs, Jack answered, which would mean Charlotte and Jimena will win everything in the 5th grade like they won everything in the 4th grade and in the 3rd grade. Not in the 2nd grade, I laughed. They didn't give those awards out in the 2nd grade, he answered. And maybe you'll win this year, I joked. Not unless they give awards for the most C's, he laughed. Everybody take your seats. Miss Rubin started yelling louder now, like she was getting annoyed that nobody was listening. We have a lot to get through, so take your seats. Don't forget you're sitting in alphabetical order. A through G is in the 1st row, H through N in the 2nd row, O through Q is in the 3rd row, R through Z is the last row. Let's go, people. We should go sit down, said Summer, walking toward the front section. You guys are definitely coming over to my house after this, right? I called out after her. Oh, definitely, she said, taking her seat next to Jimena Chin. When did Summer get so pretty? Jack muttered in my ear. Oh, shut up, dude, I said, laughing as we headed toward the 3rd row. Seriously, when did that happen? He whispered, taking the seat next to mine. Mr. Will, Miss Rubin shouted. Last time I checked, W came between R and Z, yes? Jack looked at her blankly. Huh? Dude, you're in the wrong row, I said. Oh, I am? And the face he made as he got up to leave, which was a mixture of looking completely confused and looking like he just played a joke on someone, totally cracked me up. A simple thing. About an hour later, we were all seated in the giant auditorium waiting for Mr. Tushman to give his middle school address. This auditorium was even bigger than I imagined it would be. Bigger than the one at Via's school. And I looked around and there must have been 1 million people in the audience. Okay, well, maybe not like 1 million, but definitely a lot. Thank you, Headmaster Jensen, for those very kind words of introduction, said Mr. Tushman, standing behind the podium on the stage as he talked into the microphone. Welcome, my fellow teachers and members of the faculty. Welcome, parents and grandparents, friends and honored guests, and most especially, welcome to my 5th and 6th grade students. Welcome to the Beecher Prep Middle School graduation ceremonies. Everyone applauded. And every year, continued Mr. Tushman, reading from his notes with his reading glasses way down on the tip of his nose, I am charged with writing 2 commencement addresses, one for 5th grade and 6th grade graduation ceremony today, and then one for the 7th and 8th grade ceremony that will take place tomorrow. And every year I say to myself, let me cut down on my work and just write one address that I can use for both situations. Seems like it shouldn't be such a hard thing to do, right? And yet, each year, I still end up with 2 different speeches, no matter what my intentions. And I finally figured out why this year. It's not, as you might assume, simply because tomorrow I'll be taking on an older crowd with a middle school experience that is largely behind them, whereas your middle school experience is largely right in front of you. No, I think it has more to do with this particular age that you are right now. That this particular moment in your lives, that even after 20 years of my being around students this age, still moves me. Because you're at the cusp, kids. You're at the edge between childhood and everything that comes after. You're in transition. And transition to the next part.